In our last episode, we witnessed Napoleon's meteoric rise to power, from his triumphant campaigns in Egypt and Italy to his bold coup d'etat on the 18th Brumaire. But Napoleon's ambition knew no bounds. In this final episode, we delve into the next chapter of his saga, the imperial coronation, his strategic marriage policies, and his grand attempts to reorganize Europe. The fate of an empire hangs in the balance. Will Napoleon's legacy endure, or will it crumble like the empires of old? Join us as we uncover the dramatic conclusion to the story of one of history's most iconic figures. As the sun rose over Notre Dame Cathedral, the venue for the coronation, the cream of European nobility and dignitaries began to arrive. Royalty and high-ranking officials from across the continent gathered to witness the historic event. The air was thick with expectation as the guests took their seats in a majestic cathedral. The Pope, Pius VII, who had traveled from Rome to officiate the ceremony, greeted Napoleon with a nod of respect. The coronation ritual was a master class in pomp and circumstances. Napoleon, with calculated humility, approached the altar where the Pope awaited him. The crown, a glittering circle of gold and precious gems, was placed on Napoleon's head, symbolizing his elevation to imperial status. As the crown was placed on his head, a deafening cheer erupted from the congregation. Napoleon, now Emperor Napoleon I, stood tall, wallowing in the adoration of the crowd. The imperial eagle, a symbol of French power, soared above the cathedral as if in triumph. He had come a long way from his humble beginnings as a Corsican army officer. Now he was the master of Europe's destiny. Napoleon furthered securing alliances and legitimacy by using the marriage policy. Napoleon Bonaparte, the French emperor, stood at the pinnacle of power, his eyes fixed on the future. He knew that to secure his legacy, he needed an heir, and his beloved wife Josephine had failed to produce one. With a heavy heart, he made the difficult decision to divorce her and marry Marie-Louise of Austria, a member of the powerful Habsburg dynasty. Despite the divorce, Napoleon made sure Josephine retained her title and a generous allowance, reflecting his continued affection for her even after their separation. Marie-Louise was just 18 years old when she was thrust into the spotlight, becoming the Empress of France, while Napoleon 40 sought to secure his legacy. As they exchanged vows, Napoleon showered Marie-Louise with attention and affection. Despite their significant age difference, the couple's chemistry was undeniable, and Marie-Louise soon found herself falling deeply in love with Napoleon. In 1811, she gave birth to a son, Napoleon II, securing the future of the Bonaparte dynasty. Napoleon's marriage policy had paid off, but it sparked criticism and opposition. Many saw it as a betrayal of his revolutionary ideals and a nod to the monarchy he had once sought to destroy. Unbothered by what was going on, Napoleon continued to expand his empire through strategic alliances, marrying off his siblings and relatives to secure ties with European royal families. His marriage policy was a delicate balancing act as he navigated through the waters of European politics. After becoming emperor, Napoleon didn't just stop at securing alliances. He went on with establishing policies, reconciliation, and taking control. One of them was Napoleon's religious policy aimed to reconcile the Catholic Church with the French state. While maintaining control, he signed the Concordat of 1801, which recognized Catholicism as the state religion, but also asserted his authority over ecclesiastical appointments. This move was a masterstroke as it placated the church while consolidating his power. Afterwards, he recognized Europe and was determined to take over everything. As Napoleon Bonaparte stood in his chambers, looking at the map of Europe, he couldn't help but feel a sense of calling. The Revolutionary Wars had shattered the older order, and Napoleon saw an opportunity to reshape the continent in his image. He began to envision a Europe with France at the top, a unified and harmonious balance of power. His mind raced with the possibilities as he set out to redraw the boundaries of the continent. Napoleon went on to establish the Confederation of the Rhine, a league of German states loyal to France. Then he created the Duchy of Warsaw, a Polish state under French protection. Italy was next, reorganized into a series of kingdoms and republics under French influence. As the years passed, Napoleon's vision began to take shape. Europe was forever changed, and though his empire would eventually crumble, his legacy continued to shape the continent. Napoleon set out to take over Spain and Russia, but this was just the beginning of the end. Napoleon had long been known for his victories. His military conquest had reshaped Europe, and his empire seemed invincible. But these two campaigns will prove to be his undoing: the war in Spain and the disastrous invasion of Russia. In 1808, Napoleon, trying to expand his empire, invaded Spain, expecting to have a quick victory, but the Spanish people, fused by nationalism and guerrilla warfare, resisted fiercely. The war dragged on, draining Napoleon's resources and manpower. As the Spanish campaign wavered, Napoleon's attention turned to Russia. He sought to punish Tsar Alexander for his refusal to join the continental system, aimed at weakening Britain. In June 1812, Napoleon's Grand Army, over 600,000 strong, crossed into Russia, but the Russians, employing scorched earth tactics, retreated, leaving nothing but destruction and desertion in their wake. The harsh Russian winter, combined with the stubborn resistance of the Russian army, proved damaging for the French. As the months passed, Napoleon's army dwindled, and the once mighty Grand Army was reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. By the time Napoleon's army stumbled back into France, only a fraction remained. The Russian campaign had been a disaster, and the Spanish War still raged on. These two campaigns marked a turning point in Napoleon's fortunes. His empire, once seemingly invincible, now teetered on the brink of collapse. The Russian winter and Spanish guerrilla warfare had exposed the weaknesses of his army, and the world began to turn against him. As Napoleon's empire expanded, so did the resistance against him. The Spanish guerrilla warfare, the Russian winter, and the British naval blockade had all taken their toll. The once mighty French army, now tired and depleted, faced a new challenge: a coalition of European powers determined to bring down the French emperor. In 1813, a new coalition formed, comprising Britain, Russia, Austria, and Prussia. This formidable alliance, united in their determination to defeat Napoleon, marked a turning point in the war. In October 1813, the coalition armies clashed with Napoleon's forces at Leipzig. The battle raged on for 3 days, with heavy losses on both sides. But in the end, Napoleon's army was defeated, and he was forced to retreat. The French people, weary of war and hardship, began to turn against their emperor. The economy was in shambles, and the once mighty French army was now in disarray. As the coalition armies closed in, Napoleon's military decline became evident. His strategic genius, once unparalleled, now seemed tarnished. His army, once invincible, was now depleted and demoralized. On March 31st, 1814, the coalition armies entered Paris, and Napoleon was forced to abdicate the throne. The French Senate, once loyal only to Napoleon, has now turned against him, declaring him an outlaw. Napoleon was banished to the island of Elba, a small territory in the Mediterranean. He was allowed to retain the title of emperor, but his powers were severely limited. The island was small, and Napoleon's ambitions were far from quenched. Napoleon's exile was short-lived. In February 1815, he escaped from Elba, returning to power in France for a brief, tumultuous period known as the 100 Days. On June 18, 1815, Napoleon's army clashed with the coalition forces at Waterloo. The battle raged on for hours with heavy losses on both sides. But in the end, Napoleon's army was defeated and he was forced to leave once more. This time, there would be no escape. Napoleon was banished to the remote island of St. Helena, a British territory in the South Atlantic. He would remain there until he died in 1821. The fall of Napoleon marked the end of an era, the end of French dominance in Europe, and the rise of a new world order. The once mighty empire crumbled, and its former master became a prisoner, a stark reminder of the fleeting nature of human ambition. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories. If you missed parts 1 and 2, you can find them at our page and catch up on the entire saga. Stay tuned for more thrilling tales from the past. See you in the next video.